Operation Big Buzz and the possible Zika connection. Big government is behind all types of wonderful experiments. Many think the only way to help the planet is to cull the population. Many of the Bilderberg members were behind such a huge push for abortion and what they call family planning classes. We now know that Zika can cause infertility in men and women. The question I want to ask you, would the government or another group release something like this on the population? There is something called Operation Big Buzz. This catastrophic experiment conducted by the US government in 1955 may not seem as harmful as it was. The government released millions of Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, known to carry yellow fever, into Georgia parks. The bugs quickly dispersed into the suburbs. The goal was to determine how effective insects could be in biological warfare by tracking biting habits on citizens. Although these mosquitoes weren't infected with yellow fever, the government still tested the potential for biological warfare by experimenting on its own citizens, with the people of Savannah, Georgia, being the target. It is also recorded that government officials disguised themselves as healthcare officials in order to effectively record the mosquito bites and track their locations. Many other experiments similar to Operation Big Buzz were also performed, such as Operation Dropkick and Operation Big Itch. Operation Dropkick is very similar in that they both tested mosquitoes in Georgia. Operation Big Itch involved the government releasing fleas into the public to study their biting and travel habits. Like the goal for Operation Big Buzz, Operation Big Itch was meant to determine how effective fleas would be in spreading disease in biological warfare. All of these studies show the government's determination for developing advanced biological warfare methods. I would like to point out another possible connection. The Georgia Guidestones. In June 1979, a man using the self-professed pseudonym Robert C. Christian approached the Elberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans, and commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass, calendar, and clock, and should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. Joe Fendley of Elberton Granite assumed that Christian was a nut and attempted to discourage him by giving a quote several times higher than any project the company had taken, explaining that the Guidestones would require additional tools and consultants. Christian accepted the quote. When arranging payment, Christian explained that he represented a group which had been planning the Guidestones for 20 years, and which intended to remain anonymous. A message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles is engraved on the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages, one language on each face of the 4 large upright stones. Moving clockwise around the structure from due north, these languages are English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. The inscriptions: maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, and seek harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature and leave room for nature. Do you see the connections? Each event happened in Georgia, affect human population and family planning. Now imagine a full year, or two, during which a nation's old people die but no new people are born. Picture an elementary school with empty first and second grade classrooms. Look further ahead to the years no new workers join the labor pool. How would a 2-year collapse in the birth rate rattle a nation? We might be about to find out. The immediate worries about Zika virus, in which the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has determined can cause microcephaly and other brain damage in newborn babies, are obviously medical in nature. Where should pregnant women not travel? How quickly can a vaccine be developed? At the same time, in an attempt to stave off more cases of microcephaly, several Zika-affected nations such as El Salvador, Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, and Jamaica are trying to prevent all births. The governments in these countries are asking women to delay pregnancies for several months, or until more is known about the Zika outbreak. In Puerto Rico, where the health minister has given similar advice, the pregnancy rate already is about 8% lower than last year. At the extreme end, El Salvador is asking women to hold off on becoming pregnant for 2 years. The World Health Organization has declared the Zika outbreak a global emergency and put the virus in the same threat category as Ebola. Some American scientists pushed for the emergency status, pointing out that the failure to respond quickly contributed to Ebola's spread. The problem: there is no cure and never will be, not for us anyway. Stay paranoid, my friends.